I'm the scat man. I'm the scat man.
Yes,
Producer Mick, just throwing something together.
Mickey.
Just throwing an Emmy production together.
Stacks on stacks on stacks.
Welcome to Covers This Puck Props with 14-year NHL vet Carlo Colaiacovo on Covers, presented by, of course, Sports Interaction. Big day yesterday, even outside of the stacks. The stacks went 17 units, which is just a regular day in the stack world. But hey, when Shen got stopped on that 2-0, I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
Right? 2-0.
Have no fear. Braden Shen is here. Yes.
Right? Loved it. And Walt did play great. Like it could have been worse. It could have been a lot worse for the Leafs if Walt maybe didn't come up with some big saves, but pretty piss poor rebound after the Columbus game for the old Leafs. But we'll take the neighbors. Shen stack. That was a big one. Kyrou and Buchnevich is a really good pairing. They were hot in the beginning of the year. Then they split them up. And now they're back with the Bob Thomas injury. So there's a lot to like within those guys. 4 games today. Stacks, plays, a couple games we're looking for points. We start off Ottawa, Vegas. Ottawa's power play is 40%.
Wow.
It's not even the top one, but 40
PP points.
PP points, but we're stacking out of the way. We're going over 6. There's a flat 6 available. Sports Interaction, -120. Not a ton out there, but Sports Interaction has an over 6, -120. We're on that. Batherson and Norris stack.
So just to give you some information on this Ottawa-Vegas game, it is reported that Linus Ullmark is supposed to return to the lineup in net for Ottawa. So I'm not saying that should sway your pick either way, but just for our
I looked. I knew that it was happening. And that's why the 6.5s are going down to the 6.
6. Gotcha. Okay.
And I think Vegas is undefeated at home, but they've played some trash teams. San Jose, St. Louis. I don't know if we can call them a trash team, but they're not a great team. But Ottawa's just back and forth team. They're giving up a ton of goals. They're scoring a lot of goals. The power plays on point. Batherson and Norris. I like this stack at +225. I love second line stacks on the road just because of the matchups you get. You saw it yesterday. St. Louis, the second line, the Kyrou Buchnevich line was pointing constantly. And who's the other winger on that line? The stud?
On the St.
Blues
Louis line?
Yeah.
Oh, Dylan Holloway.
Was it that? Who's the other one you were talking about today? Who's that starts with a P? Why can't I think of his name?
Oh, for the Blues?
Yeah, but
on the second line?
Broberg.
He's a D-man.
Is he the D-man? What's he doing up there?
Broberg's a D-man.
I saw him crushing people. That's fine.
Yeah, Broberg's a D-man.
I'm an idiot. Yeah. Good thing I'm not throwing that guy in a stack. Anyway, stacks. Norris.
I mean, you could. He's been off to a great start. You'll probably hit it.
No, I just like this Ottawa offense. You say Ullmark comes back. That's fine. I'm not too worried about it. Vegas still looking good. Now I'm going to say this guy's name wrong too. So the second line, Hurdle. The stack is Hurdle and Pavel Dorofeyev.
That's a good call. Yeah,
not a bad call. Anyway, but there's
probably better than how I would have said it. But yeah.
Yeah. Dorofeyev doesn't have any points. And that'd be a great stack because he's on the second line. He's on with Hurdle, and they're all PP1 correlated, so they're not there. What do you like about Ottawa coming out of the gates? Like they're playing exciting hockey. That second line of Norris and Batherson is pointing. I think they've pointed in 4 of their last 5 games together. Are you an Ottawa buyer right now?
Look, I've wanted to be an Ottawa buyer for the last 2 years because the talent is there for this group. Now, they've had a little bit of a culture shift with Steve Staios coming in last year, taking his full-time GM Now bringing in a new coach in Travis Green, who's obviously a lot harder on players, demands a different way to play. And, he runs a tight ship there. And I think the players are starting to get the message. But Ottawa's success versus their failures over the last couple seasons has always been dependent on their goaltending. And they've tried many guys back there. Now they finally go out and they get Ullmark, who they believe can be a difference maker. And he will be. He will be a difference maker. He will give them some stability in net, actually a lot of stability in net. And they've changed a little bit of their look on defense. And with the structure and the systems that Travis Green wants to implement, they're clearly reaping the benefits of this. But, they've lost some games because of their goaltending already. And they've won some games because of their goaltending already. But this team will always know how to score. So they're gonna still score goals. If they can defend well, they'll hopefully have a better season. I think ultimately they'll be a team that pushes closer to a playoff spot this year. Hopefully they find a way to get in, and hopefully Ullmark ends up being the difference for them getting in. Wouldn't you love to see a Battle of Ontario back with Ottawa, Toronto? If they can find a way to get in.
Yeah, I just want to watch more Leafs hockey. That's all I want to do.
That's all you want to do, yeah.
That's all I want to do. Give me more Leafs hockey.
It's the best content out there, isn't it?
I was listening to the game. I was driving around and get to listen to Bonesy on the call. It didn't sound great. Like it was another flat start. And
I wouldn't say it was a flat start. Because they gave up a goal 47
It wasn't as flat as Columbus.
It wasn't as flat as Columbus, but you can clearly see that there was a little bit of pressure being felt by the players if they started early trailing, and they did. Down 1-0, 47 seconds in, with Wall returning to the net and all this talk about Berube playing his former team. And when that first goal went in, it was kind of like, okay, they kind of started to prepare themselves for a letdown, which is ultimately what it was.
Ultimately, what it was. Things aren't getting easier. Boston on the weekend.
Minnesota and Minnesota
Anthony's
and
in net.
That's
the savior.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got here? Vegas puck line wins 8 last 10. Favorites won. I can't read any of that.
Favorites have won the last 10 head-to-head. Sens have lost 7 of last 8 by puck line.
I'm not reading too much into West versus East head-to-heads, though.
Yeah. Well, that's some good research by Rich, for sure.
Oh, he likes the rich. He likes the rich. If you're crazy, if you really are crazy, the double stack line. So you go Giroux, Norris, and Batherson for a point. And then you go on the Vegas side. If you can get that top line, you go second line Ottawa, top line Vegas, and you take Barbashev, Eichel, and Stone for a point. That should be somewhere like 25-1 or better.
Wow.
Could be 50-1. It's some of them are silly. If you get the full lines, second line on the road, top line there's lots of things you can play with. But books are catching on to this old stack point. So,
well, they should. I mean, geez, you're printing money for these people. Might as well.
Yeah. Speaking of that, hit the like button. That's what you get.
Yeah. We need to print money for this show. So hit that like button.
There you go. Hit that like button. So that's the early game. And we got staggered hockey games today, if you didn't notice.
Yes. Love it.
Yes. An early 6:00 game in Vegas time. That's a 3:00 game on a Friday.
What's the occasion today?
Come on, Chad. Help us out. What's the occasion today? Vegas, Friday. That's the occasion. Islanders, New Jersey. I got nothing.
No
I got nothing on this game. The Islanders are hard to bet on. They're changing their lines constantly. New Jersey on the second end of a back-to-back. You see anything in this game? You hearing anything in this game? I'm sure practices and Waz practices aren't fun to go through right now.
Well, they're not, but what about the Devils' practices? I mean, this is a team right now, just pulling up their schedule, but what they give up 8 the other night and 6 yesterday, 14 goals in the last 2 games?
As Andy Francis calls them, they're one of the scam 5 teams of hockey.
Scam 5, this guy. He's got some great terms. I was trying to see here. One sec.
So
Yeah,
Rich,
they
back
give.
to Rich. Rich is a gold mine of information. Rich says annual hockey in Vegas. All the schools are given tickets. It's like a carnival atmosphere field tailgate.
That's
Whoa,
awesome.
that's
Yes.
super cool.
As if
I don't
Vegas
know if
needs.
school kids should be tailgating.
Yeah, I don't know. As if Vegas needs any more reason to promote tailgating or partying. Okay, so let's go. Let's look at the New Jersey Devils. They've lost 3 in a row. They've given up 6, 8, and 5. So 19 goals in 3 games. You said, what do I like in this game? The over.
At a flat
Simple.
6. But it's the immovable object. What is it? I don't know. I can't say it. Versus the thing that doesn't move. The thing that moves versus the thing that doesn't move. What's going to break? You have a terrible offense versus a team that gives up 1,000 goals. Which one's going to be the worst? The bad offense or the bad defense? Can you attest to any of that when that happens? As a bettor,
No.
it's a difficult thing, right?
Yeah. Like I said yesterday, I focus more on trends, right? How are teams playing in the moment? What type of games are they finding themselves in?
Yeah, well, the Islanders are playing like crap.
Yeah, but they can also score goals.
Go look at their goals per game in the last bit. Coming off a shutout loss, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, to Detroit. They gave up 10 shots in that game. They lost 1-0 to Detroit, and they gave up 10 shots in that game.
They also got shut out 1-0 to St. Louis 3 games ago.
Wow, okay, so
yeah, they've been shut out 3 times in their last 5 games.
You just put me in my place. I guess you're right.
No, it's not. Like
movable object versus resistible force. Thanks, Yahtzee.
Something like that. Yeah, what did I say? Yeah, thing that moves versus thing that doesn't move. 33% versus F. There you go. Equals 100%. I love that math, Rich. Good stuff.
Nice.
Okay, that's why I'm off it. It's a tough game to figure out which team is going to show up for which side. But if Islanders can score, then points can be scored. I'm not sure if there's a stack in the Islanders because of what they've done with the power play. Barzal and Horvat are not on the same power play unit. Palmieri and who's the other old guy on the second line?
Anders Lee?
Oh, come on, chat. Help me out. It's like an old guy who just can't remember anything. Because I never bet him.
I will find it.
Anyway, the second line pairing of the Thailanders. There you go. It's because they only score 1 or 2 goals per game.
Lee. Well, they have Maxim Siplikov.
Who's the center on that second line? Oh, sorry, that's it. Brock Nelson. Thank you very much, DJ MJ. Nelson and Palmieri, who usually play together, are not together on the power play. And I think the guy who's on the Holstrom, if Holstrom plays, I believe he's on the first line. There might be a correlated play there, but he has no props. So, again, not a game I love at all.
Yeah, and
moving to another game that I don't like.
Big loss for the Islanders, too. They just lost Duclair. He was having a good start for them.
And that's where the mix-up with the lines, they're trying to settle on what's happening there because he was settled on that first line. And now the offense is dry. Nashville, Chicago, I got nothing. But the stacks on that line are Forsberg, O'Reilly, obviously on the first line. Marchessault, Stamkos on PP1 as well on the second line. And the whole first line in Chicago's correlated still. Last practice, Foligno still somehow skating with that top line with Tuevo and Bedard. You can go across there. It's probably plus 250 somewhere in that wheelhouse. But again, I have nothing in this. I have nothing in this spot. Nashville coming off a win, seeing minus 170 on the road. I don't know. What do you talk? You finally break that hump. You finally get that first. Do you roll as Nashville?
I think so. They last game they played.
170.
Well, it's Chicago though, right? I mean,
they're not scoring either. That top line hasn't scored in 3 games, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if I'm definitely not choosing Chicago because I think Nashville's a team that can get really hot, and they would probably use last game in shutout fashion to beating Boston the way that they did. Now with a matchup that they probably feel really confident in winning. I mean, if anything, I would take I would look at Nashville power play props. Their power play is pretty hot right now, I believe.
1 for 6 last game, 1 for 2 game before that, 1 for 3. So 3 straight games with a power play goal. They give it. It's pretty lopsided too. The Nashville power play is heavily lopsided to PP1 versus PP2.
Right.
Heischer overshots. Heischer's on fire. Heischer's absolutely on fire. But I don't know. Do you want to stack shots versus
Islanders?
exactly right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Gave up. What'd you say? 11, 10 or 11? You'll see
10
assist ladder.
shots.
Yeah. All right. So Tim Powell's a man after my own likings. We don't have an assist ladder today, but if you're going assist ladder on the Friday, that's it right there. You'll see on the assist ladder versus Chicago. A game we do have some stuff for. Let's get to it. It's the late game. 9:00, Edmonton. Not that late. Pittsburgh, Edmonton, total 6.5. Creeping up. Edmonton, minus 220. Where are we with this game? We got 3 plays. We're going Victor Arvidsson on a power play point, plus 375. That is a big number for a guy on PP1. They've messed it up because this is one of the worst power plays in hockey, but it can only...
Tell me about it. So who did they... So when you say they mixed it up, who's off?
RNH and Hyman, I think.
They took Hyman off the first PP?
Hyman's done nothing.
I know. He's 0 points through 7 games.
And RNH.
First
so they brought in
play,
Skinner and they brought in Arvidsson.
Wow. That's crazy.
And both Skinner and Arvidsson are plus 375 for a power play point.
Well, hey, if the Oilers can do it, that means the Leafs can do it, right?
Stop it. Now you've jinxed us. Hey, getting the over on this game, over 6.5, minus 120 as well. And then the stack of Brian Rust and Sidney Crosby, plus 122, I got it at. Plus 115 is good too. Oilers won last 6 head-to-head. Again, East versus West. It's not a ton, but power play. There's going to be a ton of power play opportunities in this game, despite having one of the worst power play units. Their penalty kill is 56%.
Oh man, that is tough, man.
That is a tough look. When you're losing your games by special teams, it's never a fun thing, especially when it's that good. But we also know that both of these teams are giving up absolute ton of goals. The Oilers giving up 3.86 goals per game. Brutal PK. Penn's seen an average of 7.63 total goals per game, which is the highest mark in all of hockey.
Yeah.
Could see a ton of goals in this game. Pittsburgh is... We still don't know what Pittsburgh is, I don't think, 8 games into the season. And Edmonton has to snap out of it, no?
You would think so.
Does McDavid versus Crosby bump anybody up? Do you amp up? If you're McDavid, you get up for this game. If you're Crosby, do you get up for this game Friday night?
Well, it's interesting because of the comments that were made yesterday about the captaincy for the Canadian World Cup team, where McDavid was saying, yeah, it's got to be Crosby. And Crosby's like, well, I appreciate him saying that, but I don't know if I'm necessarily there yet. So there's a respect factor between the two, of course. But I think deep down inside, there's a lot of pride between these two guys to sort of show each other up in a game like this, right? Where Crosby still wants to show he's, one of the best players in the league and one of the best players to ever play the game. And McDavid wants to remind people that, even though he's off to a slow start, that he can still take over a game when he wants to.
Eric Albright saying playing against the Pens would be a good get-right game. Absolutely. We're seeing some more money on that over.
Should be. I mean, it was a tough loss for Edmonton the other night, up 2-0 in the third and then losing overtime to Carolina.
Talking Malkin, Ricard Raquel's stack, the only issue with that is it doesn't fit the system. Because let's see what stacks we do have. I believe just the only stack in this Pittsburgh game is Rust and Crosby. Drew O'Connor flanking those two. What a great first line they got still. Michael Bunting on the second line with Gino and Raquel.
So what is the formula for the stack again?
Lines 1 or 2 and PP1 together.
Okay.
And with Pittsburgh still playing both defensemen on that power play, then there won't be any stacks other than Rust and that side. If you're crazy, you can get – no, you can't get – there's not even a correlation on power play 2, but power play 1 will get the most time here. And then if we go over to Edmonton, I think because of the line change and moving Hyman, who in the chat said He's been an absolute stack killer, and he has been, especially when you have to pay a premium price just to get anything with McDavid on it. They're off. McDavid's not playing any power play one time with RNH and Hyman. So the only stack available right now is Arvidsson and Draisaitl, which is one that's already in my account as well. Nothing on this. I guess you could go Hyman and RNH on the second line, but I don't want to do that at all because it's a pretty a lot of it too is so Seattle's a team that will split up their power play 1 and their power play 2 pretty evenly, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Leafs, you're looking at 75-25%. So some teams you can stack the second power play unit, and some teams you can't, just on their usage in terms of how they split it up.
Yeah, I agree. You're the guy who's on top of this, so I'm just gonna follow your lead.
Ooh, Colton took a slash in the third. Didn't see that, and he didn't return. Hope his props are okay.
I saw that. I have him in my fantasy league too, and saw that he left the game, but we'll see. Fingers crossed.
If he's out, who do they throw up on that wing, man? They are bone dry on that wing.
But they're finding ways to win. How about that? Remember we talked about that yesterday? Minus 130? The lock of the century?
I clipped that, but I didn't put it out. The fishy thing. And then there's me talking about the Vikings minus 2.5 being fishy as well.
Right? It's almost like they're baiting you, but
Adam's Digest pulls it out. Ivan up to the top line, hopefully.
Yes. Ivan squared.
He got on the board. He scored yesterday.
Finally
too.
Scored,
Ivan.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's what it was. That's why we got Ivan with a McKinnon assist yesterday on the primary, because he might have jumped up on that line because of the injury to poor old Ross. Yeah. Mr. Ivan. I'll be happy to bet on Ivan. It's just that spot. I'll be betting on anybody.
Is there a market for him?
Oh, there might be. Let me know in the chat. I think there is. I think he's recently popped in there, which is not a bad thing. Casey Middlestad also putting some pucks in the net. So let's go there.
Come to the top power play unit.
Yeah, it's that spot, right? It's the Drouin. It's the Arturi Lehkonen. It's the Ross Colton. It's the Ivan spot. It's a rotating door of pure value. I thought I saw one too there, Bobby, as well. So let's go Ivan. Love him. We'll be looking for something on Saturday. Ottawa, Vegas over 6, flat 6, minus 120. Keep an eye. See if Allmark is in, but that 6 is indicating that Allmark is in. The 6.5, I'd stay off. Norris, Batherson stack at plus money. And then to the late game, we're going over 6.5 and 2 teams who are absolute giving up goals. There could be a lot of power play time and a lot of power play goals, just showing 2 bottom 8 penalty kill units in that game. We're going over 6.5. We're going Rust, Crosby stack, and then keep an eye out for the stacks later today. We'll see how that's going. I think, and one thing when you're dealing with the stacks and trying to throw them out, Carlo, you obviously know this. When you win, it's pretty easy to project the lineup the next day, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you lose, maybe don't put the bet into the account until you see the pregame skate, because
I see how lines change.
Yeah, and we saw that in Toronto. Do you like that Bobby McMahon jumping up to that top line in Toronto?
Yeah, I think they got to do something to, create a spark in that offense. They've only scored 2 goals in 2 games. Bobby McMahon's a guy that's shown he's got a good knack for scoring. At this point here, regardless how you feel about a player. And look, I always try to sort of prepare people before the season starts. Very rarely do we ever see a team that starts their lines at the beginning of the season look the exact same at the end of the season, or even at long points throughout the season. There's always things that are going to change. And that's ultimately why you build depth throughout your lineup, right? You want guys to, play good in different opportunities. And then when they get their chance to get elevated, they thrive. And I think Bobby McMahon's one of those guys that can definitely take an advantage of this big opportunity that he's getting. I would do it.
I just saying, Shea Theodore is going to check today. Just got signed to big bucks. Did you see that contract?
I did. Very, very favorable contract for the Knights. I mean, again, if you're Theodore, it's a good contract for him, but it's a very strategic contract for the Knights too, because it comes below what his market value would have been, and it allows Vegas to go out and improve their team in other areas. So they've clearly established two things there. One, a culture of winning, and two, a destination where players just want to go and enjoy life. Right?
Not like Toronto in the winter or Winnipeg in the winter. Like, is that the worst destination? Winnipeg in the winter?
You know what? For me, like, it all depends on who you ask. Like, I grew up in Canada, so I played hockey in Canada, which meant winter months, which meant snow. So I actually don't mind the snow. Like, the snow is not the thing that bothers me. It's the cold that bothers me. And it's not like I grew up in Florida or I grew up in California where it's sunny all year round. I don't have a problem playing in those cities. I actually Winnipeg to me, like if I had a chance of playing Winnipeg, I would look at the market. So it's a packed building every night. It's playing in front of a bunch of passionate fans. That's ultimately what you care about. And then the lifestyle away from the rink is secondary, if you'd ask me. You always find a way to make the best out of whatever situation you're in. Like, I remember when I got traded to St. Louis from Toronto, and I'm like, man, St. Louis? Like why couldn't I go to someplace sunny? When I got to St. Louis,
where's your sunny destinations?
When I got to St. Louis, I'm like, this place is awesome. Like, I loved it. I actually thought about spending the rest of my life there, but it is what it is.
Commitment issues.
I love living in Buffalo. Like, I played in Buffalo for a year. I love living there. It was awesome.
You need some sunshine in your life, bro. You need some sunshine in your life. You got to get down.
I do. My pale skin needs a lot of sunshine. Yes.
Hey, if
I'm losing my golf tan. Look, I'm losing it. Look.
You don't want. Here's the thing. You don't want a handsome-looking tan man giving you sports betting picks. You don't.
Right.
You want a guy hunkered down in the bunker with no windows.
No windows,
his eyesight because he's
neon lights, pale
God.
skin, playing scat, man.
Yeah.
You know it. Yeah.
That's what you want. That's what we are. Yeah. Hey, have a great weekend, everybody. You too, Carlo. Enjoy your weekend,
Thanks,
pal.
buddy. You too, man.
Let's keep stacking.
Hey,
I believe there are.
Keep stacking. Keep piling up people's pockets with some money. Let's continue this good
Burn
vibe.
it all on Sunday on random.
Oh, yeah. That's what you do. You build it up for Sunday, thinking that you're going to double it by 3 or 4, and you give it all back.
Yeah. Eric says, don't forget about the bags under the eyes. Yeah. Appreciate it, Eric. Thanks. Trying to not mention that. He got me back for the Winnipeg comment. Appreciate everybody there in the chat. You guys are great. We're out Friday in the books. NHL Puck Props presented by Sports Interaction on covers before you bet at noon. NFL Blitz, NFL Prop Picks powered by the Blitz, 2:15. We'll see you then.
Ciao.